Hi guys, so Baroness Kennedy, a Labour peer, had some truths to drop on our good friend and Brexiteer Jacob Rees-Mogg. Now, for those who don't know, he's had something of a second job when he wasn't reciting Latin in the House of Commons. He has a number of business interests, and while he was telling the British people that they needed to vote to leave the European Union, he, as Baroness Kennedy will point out, was taking the public for a ride. Now, the pandemic is shielding the public from the disasters of Brexit, but things are about to get much worse.
Well, it's not a can of worms for me, because I think that in many ways the government's been lucky because it's got the alibi of COVID to cover some of the desperate things that have happened as a result of Brexit. And I do think it has been hugely damaging to this country. And I don't have a soft spot for Jacob Rees-Mogg, because when I discovered that he himself had moved his business to Dublin so that he could benefit from being in the European Union when he was visiting something quite different on the rest of the population, that for me was a scandal. And it's a classic scandal of that very privileged, spoiled brat crowd of people who are leading the Conservative Party just now. And I have many friends in the Conservative Party, including Ed Vaizey, I'm very fond of, but I do not count Jacob Rees-Mogg as somebody that we should have affection for, given his hypocrisy about how he's dealt with his own finances.
I think that's a perfect descriptor of Jacob Rees-Mogg, a spoilt brat. Now, Jacob Rees-Mogg is somebody who is not going to suffer the consequences of Brexit. Nigel Farage, another one. Boris Johnson, another one. Although you could say that Nigel Farage is going to suffer a little bit because he's no longer a member of the European Parliament. But he's not going to live under a bridge, okay? He's going to be perfectly fine. Unlike the industries, the fishing communities that he inflicted Brexit upon, that he lied to. And Jacob Rees-Mogg as well. Jacob Rees-Mogg telling in this industry, don't worry, everything will be fine. You've nothing to worry about. Probably at the same time as he was moving his operations to Dublin, because he knew that it would have been damaging to stay in the UK. These charlatans, these crooks, that's what they are, crooks and charlatans, lying to the public, knowing that they will not suffer the consequences, but the public will. People have had their freedom of movement taken away. Businesses are struggling under mountains of paperwork, told before the referendum and after the referendum that there will be no paperwork. Remember, they need us more than we need them. Expats or migrants, if you want to call them, or whatever you want to call them, living in Spain and other parts of Europe, who were told by the likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nigel Farage that, don't worry, you know, the Spanish government isn't going to kick you out. You're an asset. You're a money-making machine for them. They're not going to put in measures that would in some way force you out of the country. So these charlatans and liars need to be called out. And unfortunately, the worst thing about all of this is no matter what the damage Brexit does, Jacob Rees-Mogg is in a safe seat. Jacob Rees-Mogg will not be kicked out. And unfortunately, many people will continue to vote for Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson, even though they've been lied to. And recently there was a protest by farmers. They drove their tractors past the Tory headquarters in Swindon, I think it was, and that was it. That's the height of their protest. That's all they can do. But unfortunately, many of these farmers will continue to vote for the Conservative Party. So in a way, you can't really be angry with Jacob Rees-Mogg because, well, you're not going to vote him out. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.